of course. The OCR registry, right?
Right.
The ASM will take care of that. That's why the CRSD process starts after the ASM instance is up.
Okay. All right.
The
Because
CRSD later after the ASM. And the CRSD is that one that we were updating the OCR. But the CSSD comes up before the ASM instance because the CSSD has to read the voting files before the ASM.
right, that's my wonder. Like how can it start up before the ASN? Because those files are being managed by the voting disk file, they are being managed by ASN.
Yeah, but I don't know how it works, right? That's how somebody created a software, right? They created their code. It's a very interesting point, right? It completely makes sense. But I don't know at that time how things will go, but I really don't know at that time how things will work, right? But what is 100% sure is that is why you configure that disk group first while you're configuring a grid infrastructure. You have to configure the OCR disk group, right? The disk group that we store the OCR and the routing file. So it's doing that configuration because they are already configured. Okay, is after that now the CSSD process we use those files that we configure in order to start the ASM instance. There's a mechanism, okay, one step after another. So high availability service daemon, which has to read the OLR. And once you read the OLR, from the OLR, it will have some details, about the local node. Once it reads the OLR, it will start up the CSSD process. Now the CSSD process, of course, should have access to the voting files. Okay, the CSSD process mainly, okay, will just locate the voting files. It's not even like the voting files will be, will be used at that time. No, the goal is what? The goal is for the CSSD once it is coming up, right? Once it's coming up, once the Oracle High Availability Service daemon starts the CSSD process, okay? Now, for the CSSD to start up, it just needs to locate the voting disk. Just to locate it, it doesn't mean you will use it. Okay? So I think that's where maybe you need to understand at that level. Because it was to use it, now maybe probably you need some access, right? You need the ASM, but it can locate that voting files only through another type of profile called grid plug and play profile. So once it locates it, it can now start up. And after it starts up now, the same Oracle High Availability Service daemon will go ahead now and start up now the ASM instance. And after that, the ASM instance, now the last process, that is the TRSD, will also be started up. So I think here the different issue is that the CSSD will need to check the grid plug and play profile. That is a profile which stores some information about the ASM. Once it goes to that profile and is able to identify the location of the voting file, it can complete its startup. Okay, so that is why you need to understand on that. Okay, so the ASM instance is not yet up. It's not up yet, and the CSSD is not using the voting file yet. Okay, you just need to identify it, to locate it, to make sure that they have been created. Now it can complete its startup or its initialization. Okay, so it's a bit complex. I would recommend you guys to go over the startup sequence of RAC. You can find it on my OneNote or on Google. A lot of places. Go anywhere you want. You will find it somewhere. You will find it and try to understand it because it's an interview question. We should know which process starts before which process. The startup sequence of RAC is no longer like the startup sequence of Oracle single instance, whereby you have the no mount, the mount, the open. Okay. Now we talk about Oracle High Availability Service daemon. we talk about OR, we talk about CSSD, we talk about read plug and play, we talk about ASM instance, we talk about OCR, and we talk about CRSD. So you should know the sequence, which one comes first before which one, in order for the startup to be completed successfully. Okay?
Okay.
So,
okay, sir.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Nice question. You helped me again to bring back some nice. Another question, guys? Before I log out today, please don't log out. Okay, even if I log out before 9 p.m. as you on 8:30, okay. Mr. Pope has to talk to you guys by 8:30 or 9. You guys may need to wait, right? Because he will tell you guys how we are going to move forward, okay? He will tell you everything. Normally I will be absent for a certain amount of time, and he has to just introduce soft skills by Monday. So I want you guys to be present. You know, our regular schedule is, you know, from 5 p.m. to 8 or 9. So he should be there. Please, if you have extra minute, attend the session, stay available, because I should be in another meeting. So we just tell you, right? Next step. What next? Next week you start with him. Soft skills. He will tell you what it's all about. And I should be back after 2 weeks. And when I come back, we should work on summaries, and 1 week maximum before you guys go and do something else. The next one is Postgres, I believe so, or SQL Server. He will tell you definitely. He knows exactly who should come after me and who will come after the person who comes after me. So you can ask that question, and yes, just stay connected, okay? Even if I'm not there, he has a lot of information to share. He did that for the morning class, and I asked, and he should do the same for the evening as well, of course. So please stay connected. If I'm still there, fine. If I'm not, don't log out, please. Okay. Any question? You have a list of assignments to complete. You had a task to complete. Okay, so I should make sure that we complete that before, at least, right? Explain to you how it works before we log out. Any question, technical, theory, anything? If any issue you face, anything, just let me know. If I can launch at 8 p.m. At 8 p.m. we can start. At 6 p.m. we can start. If there's any question.
I have a question, Gaetan, about OCR.
Yes, please.
You said the OCR keeps a copy of the backup on one of the node, and also the other copy is kept in the storage. How those backup are managed? I mean, how Oracle manage those backup, since we know that sometimes the FI can be full and can cause performance.
No, those backup are not stored in the FRA. The OCR backup are not stored in the FRA disk group. The OCR backup are stored at the node level, especially on the master node.
Okay.
Not in the FRA. And today, one of the questions we have to cover is to show you where those backups are located.
I'm sorry, I mentioned the FIA because just as a comparison, sometimes you know, when we run Arman and if the FIA is full, it was just comparison. I understand the backup are kept. I think you said the copy is kept in the ASM storage, and the other one is stored in one of the node. So I was just asking, you know, how Oracle manage those copy, or is in case maybe sometimes it can cause performance if you know how those copy are managed.
Now, Oracle takes a backup of the OCR every 4 hours.
Okay.
It's not static. Automatically, Oracle does that. Every 4 hours, Oracle takes a backup, a copy of the backup of the OCR and store that on the master node. And you will have by default 5 copies there, 5 copies. So those 5 copies, you are going to see that today we have the 3 copies. The difference is 4 hours, 1 copy for the day and 1 copy for the week. So in that scenario now, if there is anything wrong with the FRA, it doesn't affect the OCR because the FRA doesn't store anything regarding the OCR. So it's something else, right? FRA issue is database related issue, so you can fix that. The OCR will not be affected. Now, and the issue will come if the OCR disk group is affected, where we have the original copy of the OCR. If it's affected, the cluster will fail. And now you can use those backups that are stored in the master node to restore the OCR. Okay? So Oracle manages the OCR. Oracle creates a backup of the OCR frequently. It's not an Arman backup. It's a different type of backup. Arman is not used. Arman, I told you guys that Arman is just used for database files. Arman is not used for any other type of file. So those backups are taken frequently by the clusterware every 4 hours. And they are stored in the master node. So in case of any issue with the FRA, it doesn't affect the OCR backups. They are still taken. I don't know if you can understand what I'm saying, if you can relate it.
Yes.
Yeah. So if your FRA fails, it's full. Of course, it will affect transaction. It will affect, maybe like you guys know, the FRA full can affect user who are trying to connect. The number of Voodoo lock will be affected. So that is a different scenario. That's a database related issue. So the user connected to the database instance will be the one to be affected. But there will be nothing wrong will happen to the clusterware because the clusterware has nothing to do with the database.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Welcome.
So I have a question.
Yes, please.
Please, could you please explain how the scan listener was able to work without a DNS server?
No, the DNS was already configured. It's there. The DNS, not the GNS. The DNS.
Because we unchecked one. I don't know.
It's a DNS. It's a GNS you uncheck, but the DNS was used to configure those scan name and IP addresses, everything. Whatever I've been explaining so far before was the DNS, domain name service. The one you unchecked is the GNS, which is grid naming service. It's different from DNS.
Okay, could you please go shed some light on the scan listener?
I think I explained how the scan listener works, right? And I just said that the scan listener is a remote listener, first of all. Remote listener means it's not local to a node. It's not attached to a node. It is a remote listener. And it's just there to redirect connections to the least loaded node. It's just there for load balancing purpose. So if I have a scan listener and a connection is sent to the scan listener, that scan listener will try to identify which node is the least loaded one. Now, you guys have to know something. The load balancing is not enabled by default. The load balancing is not enabled by default. What do I mean by that? By default, the scanning signal will try to balance connections by default. So that means what? If I have two nodes, node 1, node 2, node 1, node 2, right? The scanning signal will just try to balance the number of people who are connected to node 1, the number of people who are connected to node 2. That means if instance 1 has 10 connections and instance 2 has 9 connections, the scanning signal will send a new connection to instance 2 because instance 2 has less connections than instance 1. That's the default behavior. In that scenario, it's just balancing connections. It doesn't care whether those 9 people who are in that instance are even doing more jobs than those other 10 people. It doesn't care about it. It just balance based on the number of connections. But now, you, the GBA, you can now enable load balancing. Okay, now the load balancing will depend on the amount of work that are performed at the instance level. So now moving forward, the scan listener will now consider the load on an instance. So if on instance 1 we have 10 people who are not doing a lot of things, and on instance 2 we have 9 people who are doing a lot of transactions, the scan listener will forward a new connection to instance 1, because even though we have more people there, but that instance is not loaded. So it will now balance it will now balance based on the load. No, it will not balance based on the connections. You balance based on the load. And you have to enable it at the service level. I will show you some parameter when we create the service today. RLB goal, that is where you can enable load balancing, so that the service will do the load balancing based on the load. Okay, that is something you should enable. So that's the main purpose of the scanning signal, to balance the load. Okay?
Okay, all right, that's cool. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. Another question, guys? Any question? Any question? All right. Let me share my screen, the list of activities we have to complete today. Another, please, can you allow me to share, please? Maybe, yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. All right. So this is what we have to complete today. Last class, I showed you how to create a RAC database, how to start and stop a database, how to start and stop an instance, and how to enable a archive lock mode. The activities I show you about, okay, I told you you guys have to keep this command in your brain, right? There are more commands you guys have to keep in your brain that I will show you today. More activities you guys should know, basic activities. And it's very important, okay? And keep on practicing, guys. Hopefully we will cover all the way till 16 today. Okay? I try my best to cover in the morning. And I have to make sure I also do the same for today. Okay? For another one, I will show you step by step, and if you have any question, you can ask me and we will try to answer. Okay. Okay. So the first thing I have to do now is to clean up. To clean up whatever I did in the morning, so that I will do it over on the evening, especially the last question. I need to perform the cleanup now. Okay.
So I thought you created our own database.
Come again, please.
I said I thought you created our own database.
Yes, yes, of course. You will have your own database that is running on your personal server now, right? Because I created mine on my student 367. I created a database there on 11.2.3, and I converted it into a RAC database running on these new servers.
Oh.
Okay? So that's what you guys will be doing too. I want to clean up so that we do it again. Or I can also create a database. While the database is running, it's created, right? We'll come back at the end and we will work on it. So yes, it's better. Let me create a new database on 11.2.3, okay? We'll do this activity at the end. It's a bit overwhelming. It's easy, okay? It will be very nice if you can do it. It's very easy. So let's go on here. Okay. Yes.
So if you have a problem with a cluster, where do you start troubleshooting from?
I will show you.
Okay. All right.
That is one of the questions, right? Important log file. If you see, okay, we check that today. Where is that? I just want to create a new database so that I use a different database that I will convert into RAC later on. What's wrong with this server? Hanging? Come on. I'm creating it on 11.2.3, guys. It's not. It's on 11.2.3, okay? So because my RAC is 11.2.3, right? That's why I'm creating database on 11.2.3. It'll be very quick. I don't need to explain to you how to create a database. I just want to move faster. Don't worry about it. At this point, I should not expect any question on how to create a database. You guys should know that. So I just want to launch it to save time. Looks like these servers are getting slow. You guys know this one, /data. This is the regular single instance. It's my personal server, right? So okay. Anyway, don't mind. Let me see. Yeah. Right, so while it's creating, we do something else. Okay, so I will move on with the question number 5. I know you guys, okay, we did this one, right? And I hope you guys will do that as a group, right? Later on. My first node is this one. Let me close all this. This is because I was trying to. This is when I was converting. Okay, don't worry about it. This is class 1 rack 2, and this is class 1 rack 1. Okay, this is my first node. Don't mind. Okay, don't worry about this. All this stuff, ignore it. Oh, so it was not even locked. So when I log out, my laptop stayed connected to the VPN. Okay, so exit. Okay, so question number 4 was to check the cluster web resources. Okay, so on all nodes, on local, on an on node. What happened is that you have to, the cluster where, remember I said the cluster where runs on each node. Okay, so you should know how to identify the cluster web resources, whether they are running perfect, okay, or not. It's very important. Okay, so okay, I'm trying to check those who are connected. So in that scenario, it's possible for you to check, because I made mention of some critical cluster web resources, such as the Oracle High Availability Service daemon, the cluster ready service daemon, the cluster synchronization service daemon, the event manager. I talk about those 4 processes, right? And I say that each of them have very important roles in a RAC environment. If some of those critical processes cannot come up, the cluster web will not work. Okay, so, and how will you check? How can you check? Okay, whether the cluster where those resources are working, are running perfectly, or those resources are online. Okay, so you should know those commands as well. Those commands are mandatory for you to know that the command to check cluster web resources. In an environment, most of the time, if they fail, if one of those processes fail, most of the time they have monitoring jobs, okay, to keep track of it. Because each of these processes have log files, and I will show you their log file today. And those log files are very important while you are trying to troubleshoot the failure of each of those processes, okay? So, and most of the time, whenever there's an issue in an environment with any of those processes, somebody will get notified. That is how all environment where I've been, that's how it works, okay? Unless it's a new environment, a new company, and it's their first time to configure RAC, maybe they will not have those scripts. But along the way, they are going to create some script to monitor the RAC environment, okay, and to keep track of the log files. So now, to monitor the cluster web resources, you need someone who have access to the grid infrastructure, because the cluster web comes with the grid infrastructure. So you need someone who has access to the grid infrastructure, who has the permission to monitor grid infrastructure resources. So, and in this scenario, when you guys are configuring the RAC, you specify the grid user to be the owner of the grid infrastructure, and the Oracle user to be the owner of the Oracle software. That is what you guys did. Even when you were configuring the grid infrastructure, at some point, to enable serverless SSH, you have to specify the user, right? The grid user, the password, and set up the SSH. So grid user is the one who has the permission to manage the cluster web here. This is only here, right? Because we choose our user was grid. But don't get surprised if you get to a company and Oracle is still the one to manage everything. Don't get surprised, because some environment may not need to care you to overwhelm people with a new user called a great user. They may decide that Oracle user will manage both Oracle and grid infrastructure. You just need a permission. That's it. Okay. So, but here in Brontech, you guys created 2 users. All right. Okay. Oracle user and grid user. Okay. So, and you guys specify Oracle user as the owner of Oracle software and grid user as the owner of the grid infrastructure. So, for us to check our cluster resources, then I need to log in as a grid user. All right. So, you guys know how to switch users, so I'm not showing this. Okay. Okay. So the tool to monitor cluster resources is called CRS control tool. I introduced SRVCTL, but we are going to do other stuff with SRVCTL in a moment with services. I introduced SRVCTL, server control, which helps to manage some resources, database, listeners, scan listeners, ESM, multiple stuff. Another tool that can also help to manage cluster-related resources is called the CRS-CTL. Another tool you should be familiar with. Okay, familiarize yourself with this. Keep on practicing. So this tool can help you to know whether cluster resources are working or not. And because I don't want you guys to just memorize command like that without knowing how to find the command, I will go step by step, right? Show you step by step how to get the exact command. Okay? I don't just want to type the command, you guys don't even know how to get them. So as I did for the SRVCTL, if you want to know anything about the CRSCTL, just put CRSCTL-H to see all the possible CRSCTL commands you can issue. Okay, so there are multiple things here. As somebody who is really committed, you can just go on Google to type CRSCTL check. You go on Google, it will tell you what CRSCTL check can do. CRSCTL config, it will show you what it can do, and so on. If you even need to know more about each of these, you can even go further and you do CRSCTL add, you put again -H. You will give even more details. You see, so please take some time to work on it. Like you can see here, you can even add if you need to add maybe a voting jigs, right? You can add a voting jigs using a CRSCTL. Okay, so there are multiple things you can do. Okay, so take some time and play around with this stuff. It will not hurt you, right? Even if you messed up, hope you clean up the server you work again. You have at least 2 to 3 months. Please practice, guys. At least basic things, right? So today, because I issued a help, right? In order to check cluster-related resources, you need to use the CRS-CTL check to check cluster-related resources. So let's assume I don't know the full command. I'll put -H, -help. This is what it gives me, right? It said that CRS-CTL check CRS, check the status of Oracle High Availability Service and Cluster Ready Service stack. The stack is the CRSD, the CSSD, the Event Manager, and others, right? So they are telling you that if you issue this command, you will get the status of all these. So this is the command you guys need to memorize. It's mandatory, right? So this command will give you the status of the cluster resources on the local node only, where you are. But if you want to know that the status of the cluster resources on all the nodes in the cluster environment, you may need to use check cluster -all. You need to know the status of the cluster resources on a remote node. That means you are from here, but you want to know the status of the cluster resources on a different node. You can use -N, you put that node name or that server name. you want to know the status of one process, like the CSS, the event manager, you can do that as well. Okay. So that means what? That means I do CRS check, CRS. I can see that the Oracle High Availability Service daemon is online. The Cluster Ready Service daemon is online. The Cluster Synchronizer Service daemon is online. The Event Manager is online. These are the main cluster web resources that should be up and running for the cluster to work properly. And this information is only on this node. So if I want to know the cluster web resources status on node 2, I can do that either from here or from node 2 itself. So I can do that from node 2, but if I don't want to waste my time and log into node 2, I can check it from node 1. So I can just issue the same command. But now I put -n and I put node 2. Node 2 is class 1 RAC 2, right? If I type hostname -a is class 1 RAC 2. So when I do this, no. Oh, it's check cluster, sorry. If I want to check on node 2, I should put cluster, okay? It's not TRS, it's cluster. So when I do check cluster, they give me the status of resources on node 2. You see here, they specify node 2 here. Don't mind about, about the fact that you're not seeing Oracle High Availability Service daemon here. If you are able to see all these other processes online, it is because the Oracle High Availability Service daemon was able to start them up. They cannot be online if the Oracle High Availability Service daemon is offline. So that is how you can check the status of a cluster running on a different node, right, from the local node. You can also check, the status of the cluster web resources on all the RAC nodes. Oh, what do I miss again? No, let me see something. I don't know, maybe I'm getting tired already. Long day. So it's check, right? I don't even know why I issue status. So CRCTS check cluster all, if you want to check on all the cluster, right? So you can see here that it specifies the first node and the second node and the status of each of them, okay? So if you want to stop, you can put stop. You put help if you don't know, okay? We show you how to stop. I'm doing this for those who want to understand whatever they are running, not just closing your eyes and guessing command, okay? So you can see here that you can stop the CRS. That means you can stop all these resources locally, or you can stop all of them at once. So let's assume I want to stop only on this node, right? I just put CRSCTL, stop CRS, but you need a privilege to do this. So you may need to connect as root user to do that, okay? It looks like this guy cannot do it because in order to stop, you may need to be connected as root or to have root privilege. So if you switch as root user, okay, and you will be able to stop. Now put the password wrong. But if you issue the same command, it will not work because as root user, you need to specify the home of the tool. Where is the tool located? The tool is located where? If you want to know the grid home, right? You guys know where the ASM is located. It's right here, the grid home. It's a grid home. You need to specify the grid home / bin. Now the tool is here. And this command will stop all the cluster web resources. CRSCTL stop. It stop everything, all the scan, everything. Only on this node, because I did not specify cluster all. So it means that if I issue CRSCTL check on the other node, everything has to be online. But only on this node it will be stopped. Okay. And let's keep on checking on the remote node, right? Let's check what's happening on node 1. Cluster -n +1 RAC 1. Let's see what's happening there. They are still online. They are not down yet. So, but at some point when we will check, they should be down, right? So let's keep on checking. I can stop from here or I can stop from here, right? It's up to me. You see they're still online. It will take some time for them to go down. You have to stop everything. And you guys will see something if when we are stopping the cluster, right, we are going to check. You see that it's stopping everything, it's stopping even the disk group, it's stopping everything, it's stopping the scan, it's stopping the local listing, it's stopping the services. So whenever the cluster web crashes or the cluster web fails, the database will also go, the instances on that cluster will also fail. That's why I always say that the cluster webs are both database instances. So you see that it's stopping everything. Stopping the VIP, stopping the listener, stopping everything, right? It's stopping the ESM, it's stopping the cluster synchronization service, the event manager, it stop some processes I don't even know myself. Multiple stuff, right? Stop them. It's done. Let's check the status here. You see? The following nodes are unknown to Oracle High Availability Services because they are not available. If I check the status, CRSHL check CRS could not contact Oracle High Availability Services. It has been stopped here, but not on all the nodes. Because if I say check cluster -all, what is that? Now let me check on this node. It should not stop everywhere. You see, here it's running, right? But here it's not. It should not run, right? Okay. Let me check on node 2. CRCTL check cluster. Okay. So you can just contact those resources from node 2 now. So they are running here, but here they failed. So what happened is you have to start them up here. And I want you guys to be curious about something. Let's try to start. Once you are starting, right? There's something interesting you guys have to see. Okay, it's saying that has been started, right? Okay, let's check something. You see that the first process, this one is online. The Oracle High Availability Service demo is always, it should come up first. You can see that now, the other one are not yet online. So they are starting up. This process has to start other processes. So they're in the process of to start up. So you have to keep on checking. You see that the next process was the CSSD process, restart, right? But the CRS itself is not up yet. So you see the sequence. The ASM came up. So normally after the ASM comes up, next the CRSD process will come up in a moment. Sometimes it takes some time, but this guy mostly starts with the event manager. So there's a sequence. After the high availability service daemon, follows the CSSD. After the CSSD, the next is the ASM instance. After the ASM instance, the next is the CRS and follows the databases. Consider that even the databases crash, right? Everything crashed because the clusterware has been restarted. Let's keep on checking. Now it's online. Now the CRS came up, the event manager is up. So everything is fine now. The database instances came up as well. Okay, let's see if the other one is up as well. The second database instance came up. So you see the sequence. The clusterware has to be started completely before the Oracle software resources come up as well. It's a sequence. So you cannot manage an Oracle database will not work if there's something wrong with the clusterware. So you should be familiar with how to check the clusterware resources, how to start clusterware resources, how to stop them. Okay? And you should know the startup sequence. Which one starts before which one? So, and all that is under CRSCTL command. So now if I check the status of, let me go back as grid user, okay? Because the grid user was the one having the permission to stop the cluster, right? Let's go back as root as grid user. So if I issue my command, I should see that everything is fine. Okay. So that is how we check cluster resources locally or globally, and also how to start them and how to stop them as well. Play around, go and play with this. Next, how to check all the RAC resources status. Apart from those resources, you need to check other resources, other processes. How is the database healthy? Is the listener okay? Is the scan listener okay? Is the virtual IP okay? Which component of the RAC configuration is not working properly? Okay, you need to check that. But before that, I will show you that each of these processes have a log file. You can get to a scenario whereby one of the processes fell, or maybe it cannot be started. It happened to me. I don't even remember how I fixed it there. I've been a while, more than a year, when I was mainly focused on RAC. So you should know where their log files are located. It's also mandatory. It's part of the critical clusterware log file. You guys should know the location. I just want you guys to know the location. That's it. So the location, you should know how to get to the grid home. So the easiest way for me to know the grid home from any environment I'm going, right, is to know the home of ASM. That's it. So when I have the home of ASM, I know that is the grid home because the ASM horns on the grid home. So make sure you go to the grid home. Okay, it's like the Oracle home, right? It's a grid home. Some people who may need to uninstall the grid home can go to the install directory. There are multiple directories here. You go to a directory called lock. Grid home / lock, right? You will see now the node name. So grid home / lock / the node name. You list again now, you will see that you have a directory for each process. The CRSD directory, the CSSD directory, the cluster verify utility, the grid plug and play, the Oracle High Availability Service daemon, the event manager. This is where you can find each of their log files. So that means what? If I want to know the location of the CRSD logs, I should go to CRSD. And I will get the CRSD log here. So which part should you keep on your brain? You should know that the log file for the CRS, CSS, event manager, and Oracle High Availability Service daemon are located under grid home / log / node name. Grid home / log / the node name. And after that, you are going to see the directory for each of these processes. And you can just see it to that directory and you find the logs. It's an interview question. So this is the first set of logs for each of these. So if each of these processes fail, one of these, if the CRSD fails, you can get to its logs and see what went wrong. It can help. It can be one of the helpful resources. That's how some of the critical logs you guys should keep in your mind, right? You should know that before you get to any interview. And how to know? Practice, guys. Practice for fun. It's not complicated. So along the way, I will show you other logs because it's not done yet. Okay, I just wanted to show you the logs of these files, of these processes. In case they fail, you can easily identify and fix it. So the next question was to check all the RAC resources. Okay, so we issue our CRSCTL command earlier. And we have another one called CRSCTL status, if you want to state the status of the resources. So that means if I do CRS, if I issue CRSCTL status, okay, and I put -help, there are multiple other arguments, right? You can specify a resource, a type, a server pool, a server, and so on. Me, I want to know the status of resources. So I do CRSCTL status resource. If you don't know, you still don't know, you put help again. Now you have options. Okay? So, and if you want to filter, there are other options, but I can just stop at this level. Just put -t. So if I do CRSCTL resource -t, will give me the status of all the cluster web resources. I will go over each of them. This is the long statement, right? If you need a short one, see very well. This is the long statement, right? If I need a short one, some people can do start rest -t. So they change status by start, resource by rest. Okay, it will give you the same output. So from here you can see multiple cluster web resources. So you guys should know this command as well. Keep that in your brain, or note it somewhere else, somewhere. You can see here that it can show us the digits group, whether they are status, right? You can see here that data. This is another way of it helps to troubleshoot as well. Whenever you receive a ticket about something wrong with the cluster where by just issuing this command, you will see if it's online or offline right from here. It's one of the critical commands to determine which resource is not working properly. So you can see that the first resource is aura.data.thisgroup. This is the thisgroup data, the data thisgroup. And you can see that it's online. It's online for the first server. It's also online for the second server. So the first server and the second server can reach out to data thisgroup. So everything is fine. FRA is also online for class 1 RAC 1. It's also online for class 1 RAC 2. So we good. FRA is fine. Nothing wrong with the FRA thisgroup. The listener, we have a local listener for node 1, local listener for node 2. Each of them are online. So we are good. Nothing wrong with the listener. The OCR, this group, right, is also online. That means it is reachable for the first node and also reachable for the second node. So the OCR, this group is fine. Nothing wrong. The ASM, the ASM is online as well. It's available for node 1 and for node 2. If you PS -EF grep pmon, you can see that the ASM instance is running, or you can also do SRVCTL status ASM. Okay, you can see that the ASM is running on node 1 and on node 2. Okay, so the ASM is fine. Nothing wrong with the ASM. If there's something wrong with the ASM, as it happened to me before, you will see something wrong here. The ASM will fail, and you will see maybe offline. That is where you have to start troubleshooting which log file is important. A lot of corruption can happen in an environment, especially whenever people are doing their deployment or they are performing some changes at the operating system level. It can affect some Oracle component. So sometimes you will just get a ticket like that. ASM instance not available. So you have to know which log file to check and bring it back up. So you can see that the ASM is online, is good. It is started, then it's good. It started, right? Because it doesn't have a control file, so it cannot be mounted. So it stay like that. This GSD, right, is normal, right? It should be offline. I'm not familiar with this. That is even today again. I remember that with the morning class, right? That this process is a 9i process. So it should be online only if the database on 9i. But because we are more than 9i, it's by default it will be offline. So if you have a 9i RAC configuration, it should be online because it helps to manage services or it helps to manage connectivity on 9i. Okay, so it's normal if you see or a GSD offline like this. Okay, it's the only one here that should be like this. The network is available, connectivity is fine, right? Private network is fine, so they can communicate. The Oracle notification service is online. That is what notifies the application team, right? Oracle notification service. So it's online. That means if there's something wrong, there's an error, they'll be able to receive it. If they know it's not reachable, they can get notified. So it should be online. The scan listener is online and it's actually running on Node 1, but it's not local to Node 1. You can see that on Node 1, but it doesn't mean it should run only on Node 1, okay? Scan listener 2 is running on Node 2. You can see here class 1 RAC 2. Scan listener 3 is running on Node 2 as well. If you do SRV CTL, schedule scan listener, you will see where each of the scan listeners are running, okay? And if you want to know status listener, you will see that the listener is running on both nodes, okay? So the scan listener is online and it's running on. You can see here that scan 1 is running on node 1, but scan 2 and scan 3 are running on node 2. It's easier. You can decide that you want scan 2 to run on node 1. You just need to run SRVCT or holocate. You can holocate the scan listener, okay? It's easy. So you can see here that this is the database now. Database called class 26. That's for the morning class. It's online, it's running, it is open. And this is the service. I created 2 services in the morning. So you can see that the service called HR service, I will create a service today for you as well. This service running on class 26 is also online. So it's fine. And it's running only on 1 node. This other service I created is running on 2 nodes. I will explain to you why. This database called class 26B I created for you guys is online as well, and it's open. The next component is the cluster verify utility, which this utility is the one it runs frequently on the node, on the cluster web, to detect if there's something wrong. So it's like to check the health of the system. So automatically it runs. If there's something wrong, it will report an error. That is what we detect. That's what is wrong, and log an error. OC4J is for OEM, okay? OEM component. So you have OEM cloud control. It's online because it's available. If you want to configure OEM, it can help you to make OEM available. You can see here scan. This is for the scan VIP. The scan VIP are also available. So most of the time, if the scan listener is available, the scan VIP will also be available. There's a 1-1 relationship. So scan VIP 1 work with scan listener 1 and so on. Okay? So you can stop any of these resources, can stop the scan listeners, can stop the listener, and so on. Okay? using the SRAC stop command. So you see that here, this is a very critical command. I would even recommend you to know this command more than any other command. It's one command that summarizes almost everything. Okay. You guys can stop me and you have a question that I'll be moving. So I check the RAC resources. Okay. The next step is to create a service. So for you guys, class 26 evening, I will use the database called class 26B, right? Because that's what we did last class. I created a dedicated database for you guys so that we don't do we do it on a different database. So you guys are using class 26B. Okay. So, and I remember, guys, I issued the SRC config in order to know the configuration of a database, right?
I think it's a typo.
Oh, sorry, maybe. Okay, thank you. In order to know the configuration of a database, and you can see here that this has two instances, class 26B1, class 26B2. It's using two disk groups, data FRA, but it doesn't have a service yet, and it's administrative managed. The Oracle Home is this one. The SP file is this one. Okay. So you can see here that this database doesn't have a service yet. So we are going to create a service, two services. The first service is HR service. Assuming that HR service is the service that will be used by application called HR. So the application users, in order to connect to the database called class 26B, will use this service to connect. What do I mean by that? It means that on that local TNS name.ora or on that connection string, when you're using their connection string to connect, oh, this is the grid home. It should be Oracle home, right? So where can I get it easily? This one. This is the Oracle home. Because on the grid home, we find only the listener there. We don't have the TNS name of Oracle on the grid home. Okay, guys? The listener is now honing on the grid home, not on the Oracle home. So if I go to network admin, I should be able to find the listener.ora and the sequener.ora. You should not find the TNS name.ora on the grid home. The TNS.ora is on the or under Oracle home. So that means it's important what I'm saying, right? Because the listener is no longer local to a software. It is used by the entire grid infrastructure. So if I do like this, and I put network, and I put admin, you will now see only the TNS on this Oracle software. You should not see the listener on this Oracle software. Boom. So now application users on their TNS, we specify here the service name. That means the service you are going to create, right? You will give it to them. That is what they put on their local TNS, or that is what they will use when they are trying to create a connection. So it's only through that service they'll be able to access the instance. So it means that if that service I will create now goes down, they won't be able to connect. So they can connect only through the instance. In very rare scenario, people will be giving the database name to the application team. We don't want them to have access directly to the instance. I think I explained the benefit of services. we want them to have access to the instance through a database service. And we are going to create some service now and enable transparent application failover. So what does it mean? If you want to create a service and you want to enable basic transparent application failover, okay, it's possible to create a service without enabling TAF immediately. Okay, it's also possible to create to create a service and at the same time you enable TAF while you are creating a service. Okay, so and to create a service you will use the SRVCTL tool. Okay, if you want you can run it as a grid user. If you want you can run it as Oracle user. I think grid user has the permission on that as well on the SRVCTL in this configuration. Okay. So let me do that as Oracle user. So that means whatever you want to do about services, you can just put SRVCTL service, you put help to see options, right? Okay. So whenever you want to add a service, all right, you should do SRVCTL add service. That means because there's no service yet, right? Add service. And I put -H. Okay. To get the full command. Now it tells you all the possible options to add a service. Okay. It tells you can use SRVCTL add service -D, the database name, -S, the service name, -R, the preferred instances, -A, the available instances, and multiple other options. You can just stop here. I believe so, right? You create a service. And later on, you can come and enable TAF, transparent application failover. Okay? And the question number 7 was to create a service. And the service will run only on class 26 on this instance. And the other instance will just be as an available instance. What does it mean? This instance will take over. The service will move to the available instance if the preferred instance is not available or if the preferred instance crashes. So on the preferred instance, the service will be running. But in case that instance fails, the service will fail over to the available instance. Okay, so that is what I want for HR service. So if I want to add a service, SRVCTL add service -D, the database name, class 26B, -S, the service name. This is no. What's wrong? Oh, I'm supposed to specify the. I don't even know why I press enter. I'm supposed to specify the preferred node and the available node. Okay. So which one is the preferred node? -R, right?
So excuse me.
Yes.
Why are we using class 26B? I thought the database is class 26.
No. Class 26 is for the morning class and class 26B for the evening class. That's the database.
Okay. So, okay, all right, my bad.
I created two different databases for different classes, for different sessions. So that I will not do different, I will do the same thing, right? But on different databases.
You know, we actually got confused in our group when I created a database and we went and added A and B. We were unable to connect.
No. I think I explained why I put A, I put B, right? B, I already used class 26 for the morning. So for you, the database is named class 26B. That's why the first instance will be class 26B1 and the second instance will be class 26B2.
Okay, yes, B is okay, it's 1 and 2. We went and used the A and B.
No, it's 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So when I put R, you should specify the preferred instance. Hold on. How to know the preferred, how to know the instances, right? Status database minus D plus 26B, the database name. So you can see here that these are the instances, plus 26B1 plus 26B2. Okay, so which one do we want as a preferred instance? Based on the assignment, plus 26 for you guys is plus 26B1, right? And plus 26B2. So that means I can add my service minus D minus S, I put the service name, minus R, the preferred instance, okay, and I said the available instance is what? Minus A, the available instance is, see guys, I put minus A because that is what is you should specify before you put the available instance, minus A. So when I do like this, I will create a service, and that service will be created only on class 26B1. Okay, so if you want to check, adding a service doesn't mean automatically the service will be started, okay? So you need to start it again. Add it and you start it. And if now you want to check the status, status service, you want to see all the services running on this database. You can see that HR service is running only on class 26B because that is what I chose as the preferred instance. So it's not running on class 26B2, it's running only on class 26B. Okay? So you can even get more details, right? SICTL config service. You always have to specify the database name. And then you put the service name. You see the configuration to have more details. You can see that the service configuration, the service name is this. It is enabled. Don't worry about this one. Okay. It's only one. It's running only on one node. It is primary role. There are some options that are not enabled, and I will explain why. Like this one, load balancing is not enabled. Okay, it's not enabled. That means the scan listener will not balance the connection based on the load. Okay, because it's not enabled. You should enable it at the service level. You can see here the preferred instance. You can see the available instance. Okay, so that means what? Because this service is running on class 26B1, right? It means if I kill this instance, my service will automatically move to B2. Okay? What do I mean by that? Because I specified class 26B1 as a preferred instance, but class 26B2 is the available instance in case class 26B1 fails. So it means what? If I kill -9, I'm simulating a crash, right? If I kill -9 and I put the process ID of class 26B1, Let's check the service again, where the service is running. I will see that the service now is running on class 26B, B2. So the service just fell over to the next node because I specify class 26B2 as the available node. So in case the preferred node crashes, the service will move to the available node. Even if you restart this preferred instance, the service will not come back. So if you want to make it, you want to bring it back, you may need to use the command srvctl collocate. If you don't know the entire center, you put help. If you know, you put it. Okay? And you will see the options, right? srvctl collocate service minus D, the database name, minus S, the service name, minus I, the old instance, right? Where the old instance is the service, is where the service actually running. Actually, the service running where? On class 26B, right? So this is the old instance. And minus T, the new instance. So I want it to run on. I want it to run on the first instance, right? So I'm holocating the syntax error. So the service, I want to relocate the service because actually after the crash, right, the service went to class 26B2. So I want to bring it back to class 26B1. So you can see here srvctl relocate service minus D. I put the database name, I put minus S service name, I put the old instance, and now this is where I want it to come now. So if I check the status of the service now, I will see that the service came back to node 1 or to instance 1. So we just performed a service creation. We simulated a crash of an instance. We saw that the service was able to move from that instance to another surviving instance. And we saw that how we can bring back a service to the initial instance.
But we've not started class 26. I'm a B1. I'm a class 26 one.
Yes, because
we've not started
automatically when you configure RAC, Oracle restart is configured. So you don't need to restart. Automatically RAC is going to restart class 26B1 for you.
Okay.
So when you kill it, right, it goes down. Automatically RAC will bring it back up.
Okay.
Because the cluster verify utility will detect that, and the cluster will bring it back up again automatically.
So Gaetan, you didn't have to enable TAF.
It's already enabled, right? When I add a service, immediately I enable TAF, the basic TAF. I did not put a lot of metric, but this is the basic TAF I configure.
Okay.
The basic TAF just means you just specify the preferred node and the available node. The advanced TAF configuration, you may need to specify the failover method, the transfer application failover, the number of retry, the number of delay, and another one is the policy. Let me show you that one. So let's assume you wanted to configure the advanced TAF. srvctl add service, and I put help. So now you can specify someone we stop here as I did, right? But that one is very basic. If you want to go further, you need to specify at least, you also need to specify the next option is what? The failover, where is that? I want to find it. The type of service, the failover, where is that? Where is that? This one, no. What's basic? Where is pre-connect? Okay. Minus P, which stands for the type of TAF I want. Do I want a basic TAF or do I want a pre-connect? What does it mean by basic? The basic, it means that automatically, right? That's what happened. If node 1 fails or instance 1 crashes, automatically the service will be able to allocate to any other surviving instance. Okay, that is the basic configuration. The pre-connect is not that way. The pre-connect is a bit different. So with the pre-connect, it is like we have the service that is running on the first node, but on the second node, we have a daemon, like a daemon process running in the background. So once the service fails, or once the first instance crashes, that daemon will take over now. Okay, it's a bit not, you will not see that in a lot of scenarios. So in most of the time, you will see people using the basic service. So you just see the service running on one node. And if that node fails, or if that instance fails, the service will move to the next available instance. So you need to specify you may need to specify the task policy. We did not specify it, right? So you may also need to specify the failover type. Do you want it to, because it by default is none. But you have multiple other failover type. It can be session or select. This is on 11G. But on 12C, you have transactional. So you have another type added on 12C for application continuity called transactional. So in this scenario, if the failover type is select, and if someone was issuing a select statement on instance 1, and instance 1 fell, the user will be able to get the result from instance 2. And same thing for session, the session will be able to be recreated. So your session will be recreated on instance 2. You can continue your session, okay? And if you're on 12C with transactions, your transaction can continue on node 2. So it provides application continuity to avoid downtime. So we did not specify it. So that means what? That means we were using the none. That means in case I had a user who was working on instance 1 and I killed that instance like that, right? They will lose everything. Even though the service moved, right? But the user won't be able to move. Whatever they were doing won't be replicated on instance 2 because I did not specify the type of failover I want. Okay, and we can specify the type of failover method, which is basic. Okay, none. The basic failover, I believe. Okay, if you see the basic failover, let me see. Failover, the type, the method is basic or pre-connect. That is what I was explaining. Okay, that's what I was explaining about the type of failover. Okay, if you can have failover method, it can be basic. That means automatically the service can move from one instance to another one, or it can be pre-connect. And the other type, another information you may need is a failover retry. How many retry do you want? Let's assume that, where is that? A failover retry is somewhere here.
Yeah, right there. They go down. Low down. Yes. Go down. One more. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. This one. So the failover retry is, we have a delay as well as a retry. So failover retry is, let's assume that instance 1 crashes, right? So how many times you want the service to keep on trying to connect to instance 2? Because the service has to move from instance 1 to instance 2, right? So in case there's something wrong with instance 2, how many times do you want the service to retry? So instance 1 crashes and the service is trying to go to instance 2. if it tries to go to instance 2 and then maybe there's a network issue.
Patrick, Mr. Patrick,
Yeah, Koji.
what happened? I thought it was myself and my Zoom.
No, I think he said it's he on the phone. He on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
See, come on.
Mhm.
All right. Sorry, guys. I always like to work to be working with working on different things. So they are
That's
calling
good.
me for another project that I need to cover migration to Microsoft Azure again. Oracle to Microsoft Azure.
Question, Gaetan.
Yes.
It's a personal question. Do you even rest? It looks like you don't rest.
What do you mean?
You don't. You just say you do so many things.
Yeah, important.
Yes. Thanks.
That's what I like. So I like learning different things sometimes. I like experiencing different things. I don't like to be doing the same thing over and over. So that's why I'm teaching you based on what I did long time back, and some stuff I'm teaching you, I did it maybe 1 year ago, but just to keep myself refreshed, some of them. But most of the time, I'm working mostly on the cloud and mostly on different things than what I'm teaching you sometimes. So it's just interesting. That's it. I just like doing multiple things. It helped me to stay active.
Oh, that's good. You can see that.
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to forward a detail to someone. So 1 minute. I just want to forward it via email right away. You need my so need to forward it to him again. My company profile so that he can. The first project ended last week. That's why it was very crazy. Now the next project is coming again, and I need to get involved. What is the email ID? Abhinav. Ab HINAB dot sena @com. Okay. All right, so I'm done. Sorry. Okay. So I think I hope it makes sense a little bit on how, you know, if you want to create advanced stuff, you know, those values won't be zero. Like the value you guys saw here when I issue the config. When I issue config, right? You pay attention, they were 0, 0, 0. They won't be 0. So if you want to the failover retry, you want how many times you want the service to keep on trying to connect to the second instance, right? It will be different from 0. If you put 5, it means that if instance 1 is not reachable, you will keep on trying up to 5 times. The delay is how long it has to wait to retry. That means what? It means the first time it tries, you will wait for the delay to specify. If the delay is 5 minutes, it's 1 minute, sorry. You wait for 1 minute and try to connect again. And you wait for 1 minute and try again to connect, okay? So that is what is the failover delay. So you can see that they are 0, right? So you can see that is 0 because I enabled basic transparent application failover. Okay, so if you want to make it more advanced, this one will become basic. Failover type is basic. The failover retry, you specify how many times you want to retry. The method, you specify the method. And the tag policy, you specify, okay? The failover method, you specify, okay, this one is none or select or quick connect and so on. This is what I'm talking about, load balancing, okay? So with load balancing, by default, it's balancing connection again. But if you want it to balance based on the load, okay, you will need option like RAC goal. You will use, no, very slow balancing. You will need to specify RLB goal. You can see that you can modify the service and you make it enable load balancing. Okay, so these are just some, but don't worry, guys. It's difficult that people ask you the entire syntax for a service, but I want you guys to know that to manage a database service, this SRVCTL can do that. So if someone asks you how to create a service, how to do anything, by just saying that I will use the SRVCTL add service or SRVCTL start service is enough. They don't need the entire syntax. In RAC now they ask for the entire syntax. What you need to know as entire syntax is how to create a database, how to start a database, start an instance, stop an instance. Those are the basic stuff you should know the entire syntax. Okay. So, but if you want to enable TAF, you want to enable load balancing, everything can be done at the service level. Okay. So the SRVCTL modify service or whatever is related to the service can help you to do that. Okay. So you should be aware of that. Any questions?
Done.
Yes.
Yes, please. I just want to clarify. I want to ask some question about the failover retry. Please, you didn't mention like if you want how many times you want the instance to be tried after it fails. Like for example, instance 1 is down, and you want it to be retried. Like if you said 5 times, so I want to know in this instance, if you do that, why trying to see if the instance will be up? Like for example, if you said it like 5 times, and the other time you said how like the time for the retry, right? Like what is the time you want it? How does it work? Is it not going to affect the performance? Like the time you're doing all that to retry, is it not going to affect the performance or something?
No, no, retry means what for me here? It's the service that we try to connect. It's not the database instance that we try to come up. So what happens is, if my service is running on instance 1, okay, and instance 2 is specified as the failover instance. If instance 1 crashes, right, Normally, my instance is supposed to go to instance 2, to move to instance 2 and run there. Now, for any reason, let's assume you are having network issues. Because of the network, my service is unable to move from instance 1 to instance 2. So if we try the first time to move, for that time, there's a network issue, right? It will fail, but we will not give up. So the failover retry is then how many times you want the service to retry the connection on instance 2. How many times you want it to keep on trying? If it is 0 and it was trying to go, and for any reason there was a network issue, the service will stop running. It will not try again because it was 0. But if you specify to a non-zero value, it will keep on trying to connect to the second instance till that amount of retry is elapsed, or till that number of retry is elapsed. So coming to performance, I think is even beneficial for the service to keep on trying. Otherwise, the application connection will fail. Because the application can connect to the database only through the service. So it means that if the service is down, they will not have access to the instance. So the service has to keep on trying so that they will have the chance to connect to instance 2. So that's why the failover retry in your hard scenario, you will see the value equals 0. I don't know if it makes sense or it's still not. It still doesn't make sense.
It's okay.
Sure.
Take it over again.
What I'm saying about the failover retry is how many times you want the service to try to connect to instance 2. Because once instance 1 goes down, for the service to be useful, it has to be connected to instance 2. Otherwise, application team won't be able to access any instance. So service, if the failover retry is equal to 5, it means that service will try to connect to instance 2 5 times before it gives up. So if you try to connect to instance 2 once, maybe there's an issue somewhere with instance 2, maybe it's network related or any other issue, you will not give up. You will try the first time, you will try the second time, you will try the fourth, the third, the fourth, and until it reaches the threshold, which is 5. So if after 5 times it cannot connect to instance 2, the service will stop running. And that means all the connection will fail. Application connection will fail. Those users who are using the service to connect to the database, all those connections will fail. And that is not beneficial for you or for them. That's why we need that value maybe to be more than 0, to be greater than 0. So that at least if for any reason the failover instance has an issue, the service keep on trying to connect to that instance. See, doesn't make sense?
Yeah, I got it now. I got everything now clear. I was a little bit I was getting it confused here with the failover instance. Like I was thinking the reverse. Like I was thinking if instance 1 fails, right? Before moving over to instance 2, the service we try we still be trying to connect to the instance 1 that has failed.
Right.
Instead of connecting to instance 2, which is available. So that was what I was thinking. So I'm clear now.
Yeah, you go to instance 2, you will not try to instance 1 again. No, instance 2 only. Instance 2. Even if you bring back instance 1, the service will be running on instance 2. You can do it manually.
You said you have to relocate now to switch it back.
As I did manually, right? You guys saw how I relocated the service back to instance 1. That's the only thing you can do.
Mr. Gaetan.
Yes, sir.
So right now, an application can connect to the service.
Yes, they can connect. They can still connect to the service, but now they'll be connected on instance 2. They will not even know that they are now.
Okay, I understand. I don't know. So what about a TNS entry? Has it been automatically been
They don't have to
added?
modify. They don't have to modify anything on the channel's name. Why? Because on the channel's name, we specify the service name, so the service name is the same there. And on the channel's name as well, where you have the host, we use the scan name now. We don't use the host name.
But you just gave another name right now.
What do you mean by another name, sir?
I was wondering if this name you gave is the same name that's on the TNS entry.
Sir, this is the TNS name. If assuming that this is the person TNS name and the service name was HR_service, the application user doesn't need to change it, right? Because the service is still HR_service. And the user also doesn't need to change the scan name. Because the scan name, behind the scan name, you have multiple IP addresses. So there's nothing they have to change. They will not even know that something happened. What do you think? What were you thinking that we changed? Tell me on this TNS name.
So I was thinking the service name, like the service name down to class 27, you will probably have but the entry there.
Now, the initial entry they have is HR_service. The service name, right? You give to them, right? You give to them, they should update their service name by HR_service. Let's assume that the service you created for them is HR_SRE. That is what they will put on their TNS name.ora, HR_SRE. So it's the same service that is moving from one instance to another one. So nothing is changing. The name is the same. What do you want them to change it?
Okay, I understand. So they have to work on their own part, not we.
They have nothing to do. They will not even know that the transparent application failover just took place. It's transparent to them.
No, sir, I'm talking about the connectivity.
Okay, initially you have to provide it to them. You have to provide the service name to them and the scan name and the port so that they can create their local. It's like you guys for the DB2 exam, right? On your local TNS.ora, you guys have to go to your Oracle client and update the TNS.ora to make two-check connection, right?
Yes.
That is what they have to do as well. So initially, you just give them the service that they should use. You will give them the host, and you give them the listener port, and they can connect using whatever you gave to them, right? You gave them, they can connect with that. Does it make sense or not?
So to be real with you, I'm still conflicted.
Tell me.
So now you created HRO_service, didn't you? And now I'm asking, like, on the TNS name, you've not added it. And you say you're gonna give them the service name. So which service name would you give? Is it class 20, the one I'm seeing here, or the one we created?
The one we created is what you give them. And you also come on the TNS.ora and update the TNS.ora.
Sava, I'm good. I'm cool now.
Okay, so you will give it to them, and you will come here and update so that when they try to connect, right, the local will match the server. That is what you guys did, right? When you were doing the two-check connection, you have to make sure that whatever is on the local should be the same thing on the server, right?
Yes.
So I also should come, and very nice question, because I know that now you understand what you are talking about. So normally, if I want them to connect, I should log into my TNSname.ora like this. I create another entry. I copy this. Okay, but I created it on class 26B. Insert. And I change now this by HR_SRE. I keep this one like this. And I give them this TNS entry. That is what they will use to connect. This is what they put on the local TNS.ora, and I save it. It makes sense?
A lot. Thank you, sir.
All right, no problem. A question? So the next service to be created is the service that we run on both node, sales_service. So now I want this service to run both on instance 1 and instance 2 at the same time. So it's not running on one instance, it's running on both instances, okay? In this scenario, if the instance 1 crashes, the service will keep on running on instance 2. So it's up to you. You can decide to create a service like this. So SRVC add service, like we did, right? You put the database name. I want it to run on class 26B. That's your database for your class. The preferred the service name is what? Sales_SRV. The preferred node is I said I want it to run on both nodes. I want it to run on both nodes, right? The instances of class 26B are what? What are the instances of class 26B?
Class 26B1 and class 26B2.
They should be separated by a comma. Okay. If you want to add to complicate the transfer application failover, as I said, right? You want it to be more advanced. You can do it in here. So if you want those retry, those whatever failover retry, failover delay, and failover -m is failover method, right? You can do it if you want to. Okay. So let's maybe set just the delay minus W, and I put maybe 10 times. The next one is what? Number of retry minus Z. I wanted to retry 5 times. So now I want to retry 5 times, but the delay, I want it to wait for maybe 1 minute. But I want to retry 5 times. So the cell will try to connect to the second instance 5 times. Okay. The method, the type of failover, maybe you select whatever you want. Maybe it's select or it's session, it's up to you. So let's assume that select. That means if somebody is issuing a select, you guys can be curious enough. You try to do this. You put select, right? I think it's -E. Okay, so if it's a primary or a standby database, guys, pay attention to this, because in an environment they may ask you to create a service for a standby database. So this is where you should differentiate them. So you may need to specify -L. You put there. If it's a standby, put physical_standby. Okay, but because for us we don't have a standby, that's why I don't care about -L. Okay. And you can start the service now. -B and -S, the service name is sales_SRV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I check now the status of the service, the status of all the services running in class 26B, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. Cover service. You can now see that this database now has 2 services. SRV that is running only on node 1, on instance 1. The second service I created is sales_SRV that is running on both 1 and 2, because that is what I chose. So this service is running, it has one component on instance 1, another component on instance 2. So if instance 1 fails, people will connect to instance 2. So people can also create services this way. Okay, so, and you can, if you see that you try to see the configuration of this service, you can see now that the retry is no longer 0, the delay is 1. The wait time, I want it to wait for 1 minute. I want to retry 5 times. The type of failover is select, right? So you can see that you now is no longer, the cardinality is 2. That means the service is running on 2 nodes at the same time. For the previous one, it was 1. The cardinality was 1 if you pay attention to HR_SRE. The cardinality was 1 because the preferred node was, I only had 1 preferred node and 1 available node. So this is how we create services either on 1 node or on 2 nodes at a time, right? It's very easy, as you can see. So I just performed task already, right? I simulated it already. If you remember, we kill an instance and the service moved to instance 2. So that means you guys should be able to create a service at your group, at the group level, and enable task. Just with the recording on this video, you can do that. You don't even need to go anywhere else. So, any question? I think maybe we go all the way till 8:30 today, because since Prof is going to come at 8:30, it's better to go all the way till there. So I will stop somewhere, right, so that we take a break. But before I get there, I need to cover some basic other activities. So how to take the OCR location? The OCR is the cluster register, is what is used by the clusterware, right? So it is, you can do that as a grid user.
So before you do that, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
So what if you have like about like 250 nodes? Would you name all of it? Like if you want the service to run on each of the like all of the nodes.
Why will you? It's better to create a pool, a server pool, right? So that you create a pool of nodes. Now you can just specify the pool on which you want the service to run on.
Okay, okay, all right.
Like you can see that we have option for pool. -P, -G, pool name. So if you have created a server pool, one pool for a set of nodes, like we learn here, you can say that this cell will run on this pool. So it will run whenever you specify the pool, you run there. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But why will you have 200 nodes even? Otherwise, it's better to create a super cluster or a flex cluster to have a better performance. And that's now you have a service running on a set of leaf node and another service running on a set of leaf node and so on. Anything else? Any other question? Okay. So how to identify the OCR location? Very easy. These are some basic commands you should also know. OCR check. That's it. Okay. OCR check will tell you where the OCR is located. The OCR is located here. Okay. But there's another file that can also provide the location of the OCR. I mean, it's etc OCR something. I have it somewhere, right? It's another way of locating the OCR location. It's etc Oracle OCR log. So if you cut this file, you can also get the OCR is located on this group. So you go to this group, you will get this OCR. Okay. So the OLR is local, right? So you just have to put OCR check local. That's wrong. Oh, as root user. This thing. You should connect as root user and run it, okay? To get the OLR location. Okay? So you connect as root, you call it the OCR check, will work. How to know the master node? That's how to know the OCR location, right? We know the available, the total space on the OCR disk group, the use space, the available space, the IG of the OCR, the file name, right? There's no integrity check issues. Everything is fine. Okay. So everything is healthy. If there's an error, you will see an error somewhere here. How to know the master node? The master node is the file that keeps the backup of the OCR. That's the easiest way to answer an interview question regarding the master node. And how to check it technically? You can just issue the OCR config. If you don't know the entire syntax, you put -H. Okay. And OCR config is another tool you guys can learn, can practice. This tool is the tool that can help you to take a backup of the OCR. You can see they can take a manual backup of the OCR, or you can create another backup using the -export. So you can take a backup of the OCR using the OCR config, and you can restore the OCR, you can upgrade the OCR, you can upgrade all those stuff using the OCR config. It's a new tool. And you can use this one as well to check the backup for the OCR. So you want to check the backup, you just use OCR config. You will see an option here, show backup. And it gives you the location of the OCR backups. So you see that we have 5 copies by default. Okay, so, and all of them are under class 1 RAC 1. That means class 1 RAC 1 is the master node, because the master node is the one that keeps the backup of the OCR. You can see that the first 3 copies, there's a difference of 4 hours. The one is 9 a.m., 9 p.m., 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m. You can see that it's 4 hours. There's 3 copies having a difference of 4 hours, 1 copy for the day and 1 copy for the week. That's how it is. But you can take a manual backup of the OCR if maybe you are trying to perform an upgrade of the RAC environment. You can take a manual backup of the OCR. You will just use maybe the OCR export, and you put the file name. Okay. Make sure you put the OCR. I don't know if this guy have the permission to do that as a root user. So if I as SU as root, and I issue, make sure I'm in the grid home /bin, and I call the tool now. Oh, how do I name it? Let me give it a good name. This name is not good. Backup.ocr. Okay. And I'm creating a backup of the OCR manually. So this is the manual backup of the OCR. All right. Let's see if I can, let's check if I can see it here. No, let me connect as root as grid user to see that now. Where is it? Maybe I need to exit and try to come back. Let me exit and connect back to it as a grid user. Where do I even specify it? Oh, it created it where I was. That's why. As grid user, as root user, I did not specify the path. That's why I did not come here. Because I just performed the backup, right? I did not put the path of the file. Okay. So that means if I go to that location again, if I go to the location where the root user backed up the file, that's where I can get it. So it was supposed to be here. Backup OCR, right? But if you wanted it to come to the same location as this one, you will have to put the whole path. Okay? So it was just to add the path. If you come here, this is the file here. This is the manual backup I took. Okay? So that is how we take a backup of the OCR, and that's how we check the backup. Some other important log files. I show you some log files where you can get the, the clusterware log files like the grid home /log/node name. And you can see the CRSD logs, the CSSD log, the event manager logs, the Oracle High Availability Service daemon logs, right? There's another file that is very critical. You have to be connected as root user to find it, to use it. It's very critical whenever even we are dealing with node eviction issues, whenever maybe we are dealing with memory issues, swap space, network issues. The var log messages file is a very critical file. You should be able to know, you should know, okay, as well. It's mandatory. There's a lot of things that are mandatory, right? I know you guys will say that everything is mandatory. So this file is where everything that happened is also recorded here on the clusterware. So you can see here that cluster synchronization service should be every time it's checking the heartbeat, right? Everything is checking, even the network, the Ethernet port, if it's fine. If it's fine, we check every time. So the var log messages file is a critical file for troubleshooting most of the RAC related issues. So it's one of the log files you should specify in case someone asks for an interview question regarding important RAC log files. Var log messages file. Okay? Var log, the file name is messages. It's under var/log, okay? Directory. Other critical files like the alert log, that is for database, right? You guys know the alert log is Oracle based. The alert log is for each node. That means if you are connected as Oracle user, right? You guys know how to know the Oracle base. You guys know that one, right? If you go to Oracle base, you go to what? Diagnosis, right? You will see what? RDBMS, right? Next, what? Database name, right? You guys for class 26B. You should see again the DB unique name again, right? Now, after database name, now you will see down the instance name. Pay attention. This is another big trap, right? The instance name, because I'm on node 2, that's why I have instance, database name, and instance name. If I go to node 1, I will have +26B1. Now, if you list, you will see trace, and you can see the alert log. Name alert_26. This is to troubleshoot any database related or instance related issues. Okay, you guys know this one. So it means that for the first node, I will go to Oracle base, diagnosis, RDBMS, database name, right? But here we change. Let's take a try. That means if I go here, let me exit this guy first. If I go here, you see now that it's +26B1. I know it's not visible. It's +26B1 instead of B2 because I'm on node. Because on this node, right? B1 is running on this node. So if you list, you go to trace. I know you cannot see, sorry. And you will see alert here as well. The alert is alert 26B1. So that means if there's something wrong with instance 1, you can change this alert log. If there's something wrong with instance 2, you can change the other alert log. There's also the ASM logs. So if there's something wrong in the ASM instance, the ASM also has its alert log. So the ASM on instance 1 has its own alert log, and the ASM on instance 2 has its own alert log. That means what? If I'm connected as grid user, to manage the ASM, right? And I grep Ora, I can also know the base of the grid infrastructure. So the Oracle base of grid is this one. So if I I would like to do that on something that is more visible, because this one is not. So if I do, I will see the Oracle base or the grid infrastructure. So if I set it to that, I can also go to diagnostics, right? I can now go to ASM. I can also go again to ASM. Now, because it is instance 2, I will find, this is the part, right? Diagnostics, ASM, you put plus ASM, now you put the GB unique, the instance name, right? Because I'm on instance, I'm on node 2 is ASM2. If I'm on node 1, it will be ASM1, right? So I can now CD to this. I can go to trace, and I will find an ASM alert log here as well. So if there's anything wrong with the ASM, you can check the alert log of the ASM to troubleshoot any ASM related issues. So in these activities, I show you how to identify the log file of the ASM, the log file of the database, the log file of the cluster web services, and also I show you where to find the var log messages file. Okay, these are the basic files you guys should be familiar with. Okay, let's take 5 minutes. Okay. Yes.
So, Mr. Gaza, how do we know how many voting disks we have, voting disk file we have?
Oh, to identify the voting disk, the command now is different. Okay. Instead of whatever we issue, the CRS CTL CSS, I think that could help. I think CSS vote disk, something like that. Okay, it's query. I think there's query somewhere. Query. Yes. It's CRS CTL query CSS vote disk. Okay. So it just show you where the voting disk is located. Okay. So the voting disk is at the same location as the OCR. Okay. They are at the same location and they are merged. So that's why you can see here that there's only one voting disk here. We did not multiply the voting disk. Okay. So, but you are able to multiplex them, right? If you use another type of redundancy, like more redundancy, like normal or high. But because we use external redundancy, that's why we have only one copy. And this is the IG. It is online, and it is actually located on this disk. It is using this disk. So the OCR and the voting disk are in the same location. So this is the command to check the voting disk. If you need more command regarding the voting disk, you can CRSCTL. If you want to add a voting disk, you put help. You can find some command to, let's assume I want to add, right? You will see that you can add, what is that? You can add the voting disk. Okay. CRSCTL add CSS vote disk, you put the voting disk name. Okay.
Yes,
and you specify. I never added it manually like this. Okay, I can add it from the ASM. So There are multiple commands you can learn. And I think for my personal documentation as well, there's some command to add a voting disk. Okay, that I can delete a voting disk, I can replace a voting disk, I can create a voting disk, and so on. So yeah, these are just basically some few commands to learn. All right, so let's take 5 quick minutes and come back. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So the next step is to how to connect to the ASM command line. The ASM has its own command line, okay? In order for you to connect to the ASM, the user should have the grid infrastructure privilege, right? That's why we do that as a grid user. So the ASM has an instance. As a database instance, you need to connect to that instance first. You see here now that it displays plus ASM because I'm connected as a grid user. So where am I? Let me see. PS minus EF ref daemon. This is that instance, right? I want to connect to this instance. So put plus ASM2. Okay. So if I do SQL plus as CGBA, I'm connected here to the instance. Okay. So I want to see all the instances. I can see all the instances by just adding G. I can see all the ASM instances. So this is if you want to do it on SQL. So, but the best user to manage ASM instances is not sysdba, it is sysasm. Because this user has the privilege to add this group, add this to a disk group, remove a disk from a disk group, and so on. So it has more privileges. It has that capability. If you use 6DBA, this 6DBA cannot add a disk to a disk group. Cannot do some stuff. It has limitations. So, but 6ESM is the best user to manage ESM instances. So you can do that from SQL. Okay, you can do that from SQL, or you can manage ESM from the command line. ESM CMD, that's another tool to manage the ESM. So just issue, once you log into the ESM instance, you just issue ESM CMD, okay? And you will log into the ESM command line. So you just issue ls, you will see all the disk group. You can issue help, and you can understand each command, right? If you need to know how each command works, just issue help chgg. They have some command here, right? To cd, to cp, I may remember gu, to list the disk, to list the disk group, to create a directory, password, to change the disk group, to check the disk group if there's something wrong with the disk group, any corruption, to check statistics, to list disk on the disk group, to create a disk group, to mount, to put something offline, to remap a disk from a disk group, to rebalance. There are multiple stuff here that if you don't even know, to change a group, all this stuff you can, to change the permission, to change the owner, and so on. So there are multiple stuff you can do here, okay, to create a backup and to restore. So there are a lot of stuff you can perform even from the ESM command line, okay? So let's take a few of the command. If I want to list this group, I can see all the disk group on my ESM here. I can see the disk group name plus the data, FRA, OCR. These two doesn't have the voting files, but the last one has voting file. That's why it's yes. You can see the usable file, the total in megabyte, the number of free space, the block, and so on. Is rebalancing? No, right? It's mounted? Yes. Okay. So if you can CD to go to any of them, okay? So you can CD to data, CD to FRA, CD to OCR. If I want to CD to FRA to navigate, I can CD and I can see that under FRA, I have a directory for class 26, a directory for class 26B, and a directory for test. Test is a database I created, right, in the past. So that's why you have it here. So for backup, right, for you guys have class 26B as database name. So you can see that it has the archive log, another copy of the control file, right? And because the redundancy is normal, there's another copy again here. Okay, there's another current copy here of the control file. There's another backup copy. Okay. So you can navigate using a CD. You can even create a directory from here, mkdir. So you see down that you won't be able to do that from the operating system. You have to log into the ESM command line for you to be able to navigate on a particular disk group. Okay. And to identify data file, you have to CD to data, right? And you identify data file there. To add a new disk to a disk group, you can do it from here, from the command line, by using the change disk group command, but that one is a bit more tricky. So I always like to do that from SQL, assist ESM. Okay. So you guys should be familiar with, should play around with some views. Go ahead and check the VDollar ESM. This group to see the disk group, the status, the compatibility, the voting files, everything, right? You can get it from here. So if you select this name, from visualize this group, you are going to see the list of the disk group, right? You guys should also be able to know the visual ASM underscore disk. So this one will also provide you the disk name, right? Once you know the name of a disk and the disk ID, you can use the visual ASM disk to do that. There are some commands that we run in order to get both information, both the disk group and the disk name, and the disk that's associated to the disk group. This command, I will share the file with you so that you guys will be able to add the disk to the disk group. So if I run this command, I'll be able to identify the disk group and which disk is running on it, right? The ASM disk, I have this ASM disk. It is cached, that means it is used. It is normal, and there's no failure group, right? The failure group is the instance itself. Okay. This is another one here, plus data. Okay. This is data. This group, it has 3 disks. This group 1, this is the disk. The FRA, it has 2 disks. Okay. So that's why you can see all the disks and the associated disk group. Okay. You can see that this one is its own failure group, right? Because I did not create separate failure group. So itself is is also a failure group, right? Of another disk. So that means what? That means in order for you to be able to add a disk to a disk group, just this command is enough for you to do that. After this group, you specify the disk group name. Okay. Add disk. You just add a disk. You put the part of the. You guys know that the disks are located here, and you just put the disk name. Okay. You just put the disk name and you put the alias of the disk. Okay. And you'll be able to add the disk to the disk group. If I want to see all the disks, I don't like the format.
Mr. Gata,
Yes, sir.
in the environment, how often do it's a personal kind of a personal question. How often do you connect to the database?
As a database administrator, you'll be connecting to the database frequently.
Okay.
As a cloud DBA, I don't connect to databases more frequently like a regular DBA because I mostly connect to servers, to Exadata servers,
Okay.
which is a different concept, yeah. But the DBA, you cannot pass a day without connecting to the database, unless you don't have a ticket. Most of the ticket could be database related. You may need to log into the database, or maybe you can even stay on OEM sometime, be monitoring OEM. If there's something wrong, generating AWR report, some few stuff, right? So it depends on the environment. That's the only thing I can also tell you. Some environment are crazily busy, some environment are very slow. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I know someone who passed 1 week without a ticket. Some people can stay a week without a ticket, without a task for a week. I know someone like that.
That's a good database.
Yes, you lose your skills as well, right? You become more lazy.
I have a
You're
lap.
right,
At,
David.
I have a lap at home, sir.
I'm just telling the truth. In that scenario, if you lose that job, you go somewhere, you cannot get another job easily. So you are lazy. You become lazy, right? Unless you are that type of person who use the spare time to study or to do other stuff, right? You keep yourself active. So yeah, it's good because you're not working, no pressure. good for your health, but some also is not good for your brain somewhere. That's what I think when it comes to the IT. 1 week without doing anything is very dangerous. Unless you're on vacation, that makes sense. Okay.
Good question. I saw earlier the fell group.
There.
I saw on I think it's down there. Fell
group. Failure group.
Yes. Can you explain a little bit?
I talk about there's no failure group configure. That's why the failure group is the disk itself. Okay. Because I told you guys earlier when I was talking about redundancy, right? I said that we can configure, you can create a disk group with failure group or without failure groups.
Okay.
So if there's no failure group configure. That's why the failure group is the disk itself. But if there was a failure group configure, you will have a different disk name here, different name. There's no failure group. So when you are adding a disk, when you are creating a disk group, right, you can decide to create a new failure group while creating a new disk group. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I will give you this file. Let me even give it to you now because I forgot to send it since daytime. So that you guys will not complain that you could not add a disk to this group. Because this file also, I want you guys when you're adding a disk, right, to the disk group using this command, using this, which command? Oh, this is the terminal. This is not the file. Sorry. When you add a disk to a disk group using this command, for instance, right? I want you guys to issue I want you guys to issue this command right after you add a disk to the disk group. If you can open two terminal, right? You add a disk to a disk group and immediately you issue the command, this command. You will see that the rebalancing process will take place. So the ASM will be rebalanced, will try to balance the data across the disk. So you can just be curious. The virtual ASM operation will help you to see the rebalancing. Okay? So I was not lucky enough when I issued that it was done already because it's not open to terminal. So you open the terminal, you will see that you have some values. Okay, so let me send you this file now so that I don't keep on postponing. Plus 26. What's the mesh group? Plus 26 dot. Okay. Brontech plus 26. Yes, that is the mesh group. Okay. Let me get it from here. Okay. Add this to this group. Right. That is just more practicals. Okay. It will just help me to cover this question, right? Okay. It will just help to cover this question. Okay. Increasing the CRS fencing. That's one. Increase the CRS fencing. Hey guys, you guys have the answer for this question here. You guys remember this document I sent to you? Okay. You scroll down. You will see somewhere increase CRS fencing. It will show you how to increase the disk timeout and the CSS miscount. Remember I talked about the CSS miscount when discussing about node eviction and disk timeout as well, right? So it can help you to increase those parameters. It's very important as well. Okay. So you should be able to increase it. So the steps are found here, okay? You guys, it should not be an issue. You should have canvas access, the step-by-step operation. I show you how to stop the clusterware, right? So you should stop the clusterware, and at some point you should get the coin value, and you can just set the value. You can change the value here. Okay, it's very easy. And you can start the CRS again. So you do that for this timeout and the CSS miscount. The answer is already here. So just do that. Don't say that the answer is already there. Try to do that, please. And the last thing we do now is to convert a single instance to RAC really quick. I already have the single instance database on my local server, which is student 367. I want to convert it into RAC database running on these two servers, okay? So the first thing is to do what? Is to connect to the database instance and call DBCA on that server. I will generate template. And those templates are actually what I will use to create a database on RAC. So when I go to the single instance, right, I call DBCA. My goal is to create template. Those templates will contain both the metadata and the data. Those templates now, I can copy the templates to the target, that means to any of the RAC nodes. And from that RAC node, I can call GBC again and create a database using a template. So that is what we do now. Important and easy operation. So my first goal is to connect to my regular student number, student server. I created this database urgently because I did not have any database. I created it for you guys. Okay. So
could we do cloning to accomplish attacks?
No, you cannot just clone like that because they have different architecture. One is running on ASM, one is running on file system. So you need to make sure you make the right conversion. The regular clone will not work. Okay?
All right.
So I'm on 11.203 already. So if I call GBC, the goal is to just create a template. I will create templates. I think I even explained to you in the past how templates work. So the template will contain the data. So I go to manage templates. I want to create a new template from an existing database, and I want both the data and the metadata. Okay, so if you want the metadata only, you will choose this one. If you want to create a template using another template, you will choose the first option. So what I will need is I want all the data and the metadata, right? That is what I need because I want to convert the single instance to RAC. So I will get the template from an existing database, structure plus data. I have a list of databases here. Which one do I need to convert to RAC? Test. The template name, I can call it test template or whatever you want, right? It's just a template name. The template will go to the Ohako home /assistant/gbca/template. You guys should know this location. It's only from here that you can see all the templates if you call GBCA. If a template is not under this location, you cannot see it from GBCA. So when I will create my template, it will go under this location. Now, do you want to maintain the location for the new database, or do you want to convert? I should convert it, right? Because the target destination has a different directory structure. On my student number, right? My student 367, the data files are under /oradata/whatever. But on the RAC, there is no /oradata, right? We have plus data, plus FRA, plus OCR. So you have different directory structure. So I cannot use this first one. I should use the second one. And I should finish. And the template will be created under the template location. A curious person can go ahead and open a new terminal.
It was curiosity that killed it.
So let's assume that, I want to go to that location. I should make sure I'm on the batch profile of 11203, right? So I want to go to Oracle Home. I want to go to the template location, right? Oracle Home / assistant, okay, / GBCA / template, okay? So there, that's where you have all the templates. I think I explained to you in the past what this template is all about. So this is the template I created for the morning class because the database I used was MyGB. So normally you should have 3 templates at the end of this. So for now, only one is getting created, but at the end we should have 3 of them. And these 3 templates will be copied to the target location. So you can copy those 3 templates, right, to any of the RAC nodes, but make sure you copy them to the target, to the template location on the target database, on the target node. What do I mean by that? For any RAC node here, let's assume I want to copy that to class 1 RAC 1. Okay? Let's connect as Oracle user. This node also has a template location, Oracle_home / assistant / GBCA / template. So there's also a template location here. Okay, this one is for the morning class, right? So that means I should be able to copy those templates here. If I don't copy those templates on this location, I won't be able to see that from GBCA. So once this thing will be done, right, I will just have to copy across SCP command. So what do I mean by that? You will need to issue, for instance, an SCP command, okay? And you may need to specify maybe all the templates starting with test. And you may need to put it on class 1 RAC 1 colon, and I'll put the path, right? Maybe I'll put the Oracle home of the target location. You put the template location of the target database. And all the templates will go there. In some environment, you may not have the permission to copy directly like this. You may need to copy to the temporary directory, then you copy to this location. You copy to the temporary directory, you change the permission, and then you copy to the template location, okay? So sometimes you may not have the permission just to copy stuff directly like this. I'm just telling you the truth because that's what happened. So this is the command you will run, right? And you will copy the template. So let's check if the job is done. It's done. The template has been generated. Click on yes.
So why the people hash your phone?
Huh?
When running the SCP?
So that the command doesn't run. I don't want to run the command yet. It's just like a comment.
Okay.
I don't want it to run. You see that nothing ran, right? Or just a comment. So this is the syntax I will use. So if I list again, I will see that now those 3 templates have been created. So these are the 3 I should copy. So I will copy everything that starts with test. So these 3 will go. So if I issue this command now, I should put the target Oracle password, right? Which is Oracle. And it will copy all the templates to the target location. So if you're on the target location, you can monitor that because this is class 1 RAC 1, right? So you can monitor the copy. You can see that I don't know if it's done already over there, but it's getting copied here. So all of them should be here. If you don't copy here, you cannot see them from GBCA. So I anticipate and I connect to rack 1 on GBCA so that I can call GBCA here. I want to cancel this. So on the template location, let's see if the copy is done, right? The copy is done, 100%. That means from GBCA, if I call now GBCA on that node, right, on the rack node now, I should be able to see the new template. So you just need to choose, the type of database you want to create. I will not go all the way to that, but I will show you where. Now you choose create database, right? And you will see the template there. So you can see now that the template I just copied is here. So you can just proceed with that and you create a database. Now you can choose whether you want, I think I explained how administrative and policy management databases work. You choose the database name. If you want to keep the same name, you can keep it. If you want to change, you can change it, okay? And you just select on which node you want to run. If you want them to run on all the nodes specified, you just go to next. I think I explained how to create a RAC database. So the remaining steps are the same. There's nothing different. So you can see that I can now, I just converted a single instance database to RAC, okay, using database template, and everything will be created. So you guys can go ahead and try it as well, okay? And in case you have any issue, let me know. So we cover everything, okay? And for the upgrade, I will send you a document on how to upgrade RAC from 11G to 12C, okay? And also to patch. So I think I'm done for today, okay? I think Prof is already here and he has some word for you. So any question for me before I leave, before I pass over to Prof? Any question?
Yes, I have one last question.
Yes.
So what's the essence of configuring Golden Gate when basically you have, like, how does Golden Gate work? Let me know, assume on RAC environment.
Golden Gate is meant for replication purpose, right? You can also use Golden Gate for migration. So what do you want to do? Do you want to migrate data from one location to another? Golden Gate can use for that. So it's different. They have different purpose in this scenario. If someone is trying, maybe let's take an example, right? You can use Golden Gate for multiple things. You can use it, maybe you want to upgrade a database, it's an option, because you just need to have the source and target database and just use Golden Gate to replicate the application schema from the source to the target. And the application schema can be located on a RAC database. It can be a RAC database on a single instance database. Golden Gate can help to replicate the data. It can be that you want to just, for maybe you want to replicate some tables across different databases, like, maybe you have a table on HR database, you want to replicate maybe on finance database. Golden Gate can do that. Even if it's homogeneous or heterogeneous databases, Golden Gate can do that. So the type of database doesn't matter in this scenario.
No,
okay, if you are dealing with single instance of RAC, Golden Gate can help for data replication. I don't know if it makes sense or not.
So because I said so, because all the servers are like they are on the same cluster, and Basically, you can just create a database and you enable the instance to run on all the nodes.
The instance run on all the nodes.
Yes. So I was wondering what's the use of, why do we use Golden Gate on RAC data on RAC architecture?
What do you mean by instance run on all the nodes?
Like, you can create a database and you select that it should run on all the nodes, right?
Yes, that means you have, if you select all the nodes, that means you have one instance per node, right?
Yes.
Yes. And what's wrong there? It is the same, those instances will help users to access the same database. It's not like they're working independently. Okay, so you have instance one, not instance two, and so on. Okay.
Okay.
So Pope is here. So let me pass back to him. Welcome, Pope.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, good people. How are we doing? Good?
Yeah, we're doing good, Prof.
Very
Yes,
good.
sir.
Very good. Everybody's, hope you are all working hard and heading towards the finish line. It's a very important day that we're wrapping up, not finishing, but I mean wrapping up, which is we're beginning to wrap up all the different technologies that we will do with the Oracle database. This is a milestone, so I wanted to come and congratulate you on this milestone that you are, how do you call it? They say thank you for finishing, but you're not finished, but you've done every, not just practical aspect, but every concept of how to maintain and manage this database. We started with the instance, we are still talking about the instance today, and so on, but different ways of doing it, using different technologies, different methodologies to represent this thing. When you go out to work, every environment is different. If you leave one job to another, it's different. Even while you're at work, every application has a different way of doing things. They may not use the same backup strategy. I had an interesting question that Brian was asking. It's like, why do I have replication after all? But what am I doing? Why do I have RAC, or how do I have to replicate a RAC database? But the issue is just go back to your bottom line, go back to your fundamental and look at it. Why the RAC is what? The RAC is about the instance, right? It's not about the database, right? You have multiple instances giving you multiple access to that database. But once you want to replicate that database. And for what reason do you want to replicate? And what kind of replication do you want to do? So why I like this little interaction, why I like to use examples like this is because at this point, we need to know how to talk it. From all aspects of it, you understand what this is, you understand what replication is, but how can you relate it to your job? Because if you ask that kind of question, somebody realizes immediately that you have not worked. Because if you have worked, you will know how to articulate it, how to say it, what is required at what time, what are you replicating? You're replicating the data, right? What makes it different from that RAC, different access points? You are trying to gain performance, you're trying to utilize resources wisely. So we need to put into perspective all these things that we've learned, meaning what? We need to learn how to talk about it, how to understand the environment, how it works in the environment. And we can do this by doing what we call understanding the environments, but it is talking about the interview process. I would just call it generally or broadly the interview process. But what does that really mean? It means that we need to learn how to start talking about all of these technologies that we have learned. You've learned about a database link. It was a tiny little thing you learned many, many months ago. But how have you implemented it in your environment? What was the reason for creating a link in your environment? What happened, and how did you use that link to resolve? You've talked about creating an index on this, and you talk about what is it? Was it a B-tree or bitmap? Or what happened? What is you cannot give a B-tree scenario for a bitmap index because anybody who has work will tell you no, that wouldn't work because that's not the purpose of doing that. You've talked about different partitions. I'm sure you know, so we'll go through performance tuning and through all of that. So I'm throwing many things at you. One is we will start doing what we call summaries. Summaries is putting these things together. If I ask everybody, go and summarize all what you've done, it will take you 2 months or 3 months. But how can we condense this? How can we push it to about what, 2-3 weeks so that we wrap up with all the summaries? We're going to divide ourselves into different groups on Monday. I'm going to give you different groups and we're going to give you topics. So you will do it, summarize it, and present it in the class. So you summarize for me, I summarize for you. We share notes, we build our OneNote. Class OneNote is usually the biggest working document for each class. We're all going to share it, we're going to use it in the interview process. So that is how part of what next week will be about. But for the next 2 weeks, I will work with you and I'll give you a lot and lots of assignments. So this is, we don't spend Christmas this, we don't, how do I call it? We don't spend it this year so I can spend it double next year. After all, you're even lucky. This one is a pandemic Christmas where we don't really have to even meet. But we're going to make it a very hardworking Christmas season, which is we're going to put our resources together. We're going to learn how to talk about this. I'll give you questions. I'm going to give you an assignment today. Give you a question and just go and answer it to the best of your knowledge. And then when we come on Monday, we're going to sit down and go through the question, see the details. How can we break it down? And we're going to walk and chew gum, which is we're going to multitask, but we're also doing the summary. So that'll be the two elements for the next 2 weeks that we're working on. Summaries, we'll divide topics and everybody will take topics and you in groups. I'll give it in groups. You already have your groups now. You give different topics, different people will take it and prepare it. The next is we're going to start soft skills. With soft skills, I give you soft skills one, I give you 15 questions and you go and answer it. And then we'll go through it. You come and answer it the best way. The first question in every interview, there's the first question. Question number one, tell me about yourself. How are you going to articulate yourself so that somebody understands that you are a DBA? You really know what this DBA thing is. Because right now, I consider you as already DBAs. You don't just have a job. That's all there is. So if I consider that you're a DBA without a job and you consider yourself, then you need to at least talk about what you've been doing as a DBA. So all those things that you've learned, we're going to try to summarize it and put it in a 2.5 minute statement. Sometimes 2.5 minutes gets too long. In the 2.5 minutes, you have to put yourself all over that question. Prepare your question, prepare your answer very well. And it's your answer. You use it for the rest of your life. You can add and remove 1 or 2 things in there, but the template is there. It's all about templates, talking about template. So the template of tell me about yourself, or tell me about your environment, or tell me your best working day, it's there. All you need to do is to plug in customizations as pertains to your case. So that's what we're going to do. We'll be doing for the next couple of weeks. And then when we come back, after the next couple of weeks, we'll see where we are. We'll touch notes with Gaetan and see if you just need to do presentations of your summaries. We critique it, we add this, remove this, and then you start Golden Gate. Sorry, not Golden Gate again. You start Postgres. Postgres is another type of relational database management system. It's not as if we're not going to, while we're doing that, in fact, I'm going to start demanding your resumes. You're going to start giving me your resumes. You send it to an email address, so we start preparing database administration resume for you. So we started the interview process. I used to study when you were doing RAC, but I realized that it was not really working because most people did not really follow up. They were very, very involved in the project. So I said, okay, as soon as you finish projects, I'll just come in and throw in this couple of things at you. And then let's see how it goes. I really want to appreciate you for staying the course, for fighting it, and fighting it really hard. It's not been easy, but good things don't come easy. That's just a fact of life, and I'm sure you guys all, understand that. If anybody has a question, I'm ready to answer them now, or about what I just said, or how I said the next 2 weeks are going to go. So if you have a question, I can answer that. What's wrong with you? You see, this night class, are they always this quiet, or it's just they don't just like me?
So we miss you, that's why.
We miss you, Prof.
you miss me when I'm talking and you're not even talking. I miss you guys more. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss you guys. It's just that we know that it's been very strange times. At least we would have been meeting in school and this thing would have been better. But hey, it is what it is. We are fighting it. We are fighting it. We're fighting a good fight. We used the pandemic wisely. We went underground and, studied this thing, qualified, had this plentiful knowledge. And now that we have the knowledge, what are we doing? We are trying to use it to go out there and get the job. January sweepstakes. When I just know that when this economy takes place, hopefully that January 20th comes, and they take your uncle out of the chair, or he escapes from the White House, then the economy is going to take a different trajectory. People are having jobs yesterday, today, just so many of them have, come through, and it's beginning to take shape. So because our business is big business, we're not with the small business, we're in big business. People are in big business, and the stocks are heading towards the right direction. So definitely, there's a lot of money to spend on databases and so on and so forth. But next week we'll need to start talking. Next week I want you to answer a question. The question is, tell me about yourself. So give me your best shot. I'll give everybody 1-2 minutes. Tell me about yourself. Give me your best shot, and I will present it to you how you should answer it, how you should customize it, because that's the first. That's the first question in every interview. So with the interview process, we want to make sure that we do it and we do it correctly. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Gaitan for doing a fantastic job. I know what he's capable of, but every time he surpasses himself. He does slightly more than what he did before. And that is life. That is how it goes. With every class, you will even be better. So, Gaitan, thank you very much for piloting this special class. Like I told you on day one, they were special because they told us one day to leave the classroom and go and hide, go and bunker down in our houses. And we tried. It's a good numbers. So, hanging on and doing what we're supposed to do. It's just that they are quiet now and confused. Normally, when I sit here, Monica is shouting, Francois is shouting. They're trying to knock me out, but now everybody has just been quiet. What happened?
Prof, I don't have a question, but I just want to join you and thanks Gaitan, because he was really patient. He really gave all. So we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Patrick. That's very good. You must tell somebody they are good so that they can do better next time. And even tell them, yes, that they are good. When they do, good people do good things, you let them know.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow. So only one person here, I appreciate Gaitan.
We are. Bello. Maybe step out.
No, he's there confused, muting himself and unmuting.
Prof, the way you love to knock me here, I don't understand.
Which one is knocking? Who knocked you?
Yeah, Mr. Gaita, I want to personally appreciate you. Although I've been, I've been very curious to know this thing, because Prof have been challenging me from the onset. So I've taken up like a burden upon myself to, work extra hard. And so far, so good, man. I will miss you a lot.
That's very good.
Thank you for your service.
That's very good. You took up the challenge. Yes, if I challenge you, there are two things you can do: to shy down or to do it.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you very, very much.
Hey, Prof.
Yes, Fali.
Yeah, Prof. I want to say something because I know I was in class because I got one emergency, but when I hear the people talking, and that's why I want to say something. I want to say thank you for you, Prof. I want to say thank you for Emerald. I want to say thank you for Gaitan, because when we come into Brontech, I was know nothing, but we are now I learn a lot. I want to say thank you, Gaitan, so much, because when the people was talk about the RAC, is very difficult. But for me, I think about it right now. The RAC is one project for me is easy. I can understand very
good.
Very well, very well. That's why Gaitan try to break down everything for us. I want to say thank you so much to Gaitan, We go miss you. I think Ibontek is the best one. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Pali. Thank you very much. You know, when you see sometimes, like I said, I told you from the one that we're only going to give you the best. But the thing is that the best is always the best and even better than the best. So I'll join you all in thanking Gaitan to say, please, you know, exactly. Look at like Pali said, or like came into Bronte. Where were you? You're looking at your keyboard. I'm sure you're looking for where is A and where is B. You understand?
Computer basics, sir.
The basics, exactly. I'll say you say copy, however, command officer. But look at where we are now, doing RAC in 12 simple months, 11 months. We're not even finished the 12 yet. You know, in 12, 11 simple months, you are cloning databases with your back of your things. You are looking for Golden Gate. You're doing things that people cannot even imagine that you're doing. You know, and trust me, you will see this knowledge come to fruition when you start working. That's why when you leave Brontech, you go to work, you just go there and work. It's not a matter of go there and try to figure yourself out. You have the information. Don't worry if you don't know all things, it's okay not to know, but at least you know where everything is. Remember, I told you that. So with the summaries and so on, we're going to get all of this. But once you go to work, work will be work and you just keep working. All right? So thank you all. Thank you very much, folks. Gaitan, thank you. And we'll see you on Monday. These people in the evening, they don't talk. Morning, they were fighting here. Like it was day one. Evening people, they're always tired. Monica, cannot be hear you. At least Pali has spoken. The night I don't have things to say. Wow.
No, I just want to know, what is the schedule for Monday? Is it 5 or 6?
Wow. Don't worry, at the thank you face of this class. Jeez.
The time is over.
Class is over.
I said the thank you time is over, right?
You declared it over. Wow. All right. We are going to walk at 6 o'clock, I think 6.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to continue. So I mean, since it's the same class days, we're going to do that, but we'll get some soft skills, lighten your head a little bit, do some summaries, you know. Please, the assignments that I've given you, I haven't even say, go and try this, go and try it. Please go and try it. Please, please, please. Try it with your group. And I'm not saying, you know, start sending me, what's that? Those who are finished with your RAC, we can do those things 100 times. So don't hesitate. Configure it, send it, we'll reset it, configure it, send it, we'll reset it as many times. I want everybody to do it individually. If you've done it as a group, you now know what it is. Do it over and over. It doesn't take us anything to reset it. All right? We must be the best in everything. Comprende?
Appreciate you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Patrick, and everybody else.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So, good night.
All right. Thanks, Gaitan.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you, Gaitan, and everybody.
All right. Okay, thank you, guys. I have to leave. I think we are done for today. See you next time, okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
When is the next time, sir? He's gone?
The next time in 2 weeks.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
We'll be expecting you.
All right, thank you. Okay, bye, good night.